Little guy. Still in his cast. How you feeling, buddy? You good? No, not yet. A lot of meds for a puppy. And me. In this place. Well. Katrina, what a lost opportunity. How many jobs? Our last deceit. When I met Mick. He knew Hank from before. A short film. Something with profanity and sex. But not real sex. Rather R-rated. This may be the most boring episode. Stewie, go lay down, baby. Really nice swimming hole right there. And she goes on.
I'm thinking maybe just to the big rock.
Easter AM. Long distance runner, what you standing there for? Get up, get out of the door. The Dead were playing when I asked Mick to write something, anything. The blog's dead, man, you're losing audience. And I left off to Thump to find that blonde. Then returned an hour or so later, unsuccessful I must say, to find the following written on Mick's requisite West 9th stationery. This is what Shackleton and other shipwrecked sailors felt. Such a trek and distance to go, but a single hold-up, sandbar, ice impatience, ego, economy, holding us fast. Our intended destination, and all in between and afar, but a vision, delusion. Until launch, freedom. Busted and grateful. Others are far off. Others are far worse off. Yet I have foreseen the failures of this road, which makes my complicity all the more clear. Complacency. Idle impatience is when we are most vivid. Hank and I are opposites, an understatement for some, but we have both covered similar moments and mindsets with our shadows. Suddenly, though, I have to be responsible. The leadership. Abhorrence. Now I must retake responsibility, to fill bellies, our daily ration of burritos, to be the creator and caretaker, because I invited my younger self on this trip, a dozen years apart and yet an entire generation, a divide we can't possibly ford. I see my younger self and spit over the side of this shipwreck known as Orbust. The bottle of Pendleton was gone, as was Mick. Hank off to some social occasion he couldn't possibly pay for. More goodwill for the good soul. Stu and I sat in Harrietta for a long time, taking notes, scratching belly, and wishing that that blonde were at Thump so I could beg for a bed for the night. I later flipped the bench and slipped into my sleeping bag. On Mick's bed, only he rests here. I gave the cushions a pat. Stu joined me, a lame limp that has his butt dangling until he yelps. I pounce atop. Pull him. Here, boy. Alongside me on Mick's bed, spooning for a time, I'm sure. Stu and I slept the whole night through. Woke to just ourselves and snoozed some more, wondering why neither Mick nor Hank came home last night. Stu wasn't talking, so we went for a walk, limp more like, and drank some Strictly O. Returning by noon to find both of them back, silhouettes across from each other, whispering. Stu raced to greet Mick. I stayed outside, alone, took a seat, then quickly stood, back to thump to find a blonde, anywhere but here.
Paulina. The way Stu walked up the hill, not a look back, but up, away. Us below, silent, staring until that selfish feeling came, eyes lowering to the forest floor. Over the ridge, out of sight, that's when Mick managed, "Stu?" No response, so we crowed and glared, followed the ridge line. "Stu?" Paulina peeked beyond, only the obsidian flowed between. Maybe it's Stu's time. He's felt it for some time, and now we must accept it. 7 going on 56. Left rear leg limping, at night worse. Too many flights, not our Ford but more. Service dog in name only. "Stu!" Mick won't quit, mad, unwilling to allow his soul friend to take a bow. Not now, not here. Lava flowing as recent as the Dark Ages. Lakes that shouldn't exist. Newberry Crater our blanket. Proof of why petroglyphs are so few in the high desert. Snake Indian Chief Paulina was gunned down by ranchers and a postmaster named Howard Maupin for raiding homesteaders and stealing horses in 1867. Legend has Paulina stabbing his knives into the ground, snapping the blades as Maupin approached, his rifle having hit their mark. Maupin got a lovely town along the Deschutes named after him for the deed. Paulina got this 8,000-foot peak overlooking an earlier apocalypse. Bears at night. Stu would make a fine morsel. Sst, and Mick stopped, interrupted by rustles. Twigs and leaves, black oval head with ears flopping along the ridge, illuminated from behind. Stu has a halo as he runs back to us. Mick more likely. One tongue wags, the other bleeds. Then, "Bad dog, bad fucking dog." It wasn't his time. Fuck you too.
Chapter 1 Rewrite. Wall Street. I have an affinity for following tragedies. Will you come along? Mick asked me after. Huh? On or bust. Why, I wondered. Don't know. Something to do. Do you have anything else to write? Something more important? Well, Lehman Brothers, Islamabad, Obama's first 100. Thinking, knowing all I could write will be written by others. Relenting. No, not really. Then come. A pause, followed by the fateful. Okay. Early March 2009 would be remembered as the moment when I stopped following tragedies and instead served as a witness and catalyst. Chaos. You can lead a horse to water. That's a good spot. Good boy.